So I'd like to start by defining the cultural shift. And from my perspective as an art advisor or curator in the creative industry, I'd like to say shift is rather not a change, but it's a collaborative initiative to make a better every day. It's a transformation from what we are to a better environment, a better overall space, people, who we are, from individuals to a community. And it can't happen by an individual effort. It has to be inclusive of a larger community, if I can say. It has to involve more than one person in it. And on that note, I'd like to direct a question to Abu Hatmi and ask him how much of cultural shift do you think is not an individual effort, but rather actually having the community being involved with it? And how much do you think is intervention necessary to create a cultural shift?
I love the fact my voice sounds different when I hear it, so it's very strange. One of the things is where the cultural shift is, I believe the cultural shift actually happened almost 5 years ago, but everybody's still living in a bubble somehow. But now it's actually more exposed to social networks and everything like that. I've actually been doing graffiti for the last 10 years, but nobody actually saw me do it. But once Instagram was actually introduced into the market, that's when people started actually going more into the artwork, trying to see actually I'm not the first graffiti artist in Kuwait. There's actually so many, and there's actually a lot more better people than I am. And one of the things for the cultural shifts, and the best thing that I'm seeing in Kuwait is the fact that people actually want to collaborate. Before it was everybody was like, I'm on my own, I don't want to work with you. You know, my stuff is better. But now it's like where I love your style, we can work together. There's a lot of collaboration going on right now, and there's a lot of good skills with people out there. And everybody's actually, I feel like they want to expose themselves more, which is actually a good thing, instead of just hiding their work. Some people were actually afraid to actually show their work because nobody can handle criticism. But now it's like, it's out there in the public. I want people to tell me how good it is and everything for that. So now it's changing in a way, but I feel like it's still like 5 years. I think it's just more exposed now. It's more out there. Oh, no, it's okay. Oh, it's not, okay. I can sing you a song? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I wanted, because a lot of people have a misinterpretation between the terminology of vandalism and beautification projects. So if you can just explain to us a little bit about how, from your perspective as an artist, you see them as two different terms.
One of the things about graffiti is, number one, there's a difference between graffiti and street art. It's totally different. And a lot of people think that graffiti is actually vandalism, but it's not, if you actually ask permission. Before I even touch a wall, okay, number one, as an expat living in Kuwait, the thing is, I can't just go ahead. Kuwait is like so small. If I actually tag my name on a wall, that person's gonna know who I am. So the thing is, before, I'll give you an example. Right in front of my house for almost a year and a half, there was a huge 19-meter wall. That wall, I have no idea what the fascination of swastikas are in Kuwait. But you have a swastika, and then you have the worst curse word ever, and next to it, it says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. That makes no sense. You'll have a seizure just like trying to read that thing and trying to put together. So I actually asked the owner of the building, I was like, do you mind if I beautify that wall for you? I was like, I don't want you to pay me for anything. I just want to make sure that every time I come to my neighborhood, it's actually beautiful. And the thing is, the guy, I told him, if you don't like it, I'll just repaint it. I'll paint it white again for you. You know, it's all on my cost. And the guy was like, go ahead and do it. And one of the things that happened was the fact that I have the worst kids in my neighborhood. These guys need to be shot. But I saw the change in these guys. That's where the education came in. They saw how hard I actually worked on that wall, and I had them work with me on that wall. So now they're actually the guardians of that wall, and they know how hard to work on it. And for some reason, the creative outlet coming out of these kids are amazing. They're adding color to that wall. They would ask me, can you draw my face on that wall? They're actually scouting other walls for me. And no more swastikas in my neighborhood. It's amazing, you know, so it's actually a good thing.
So that's great, thank you. And I think that stresses on the point that we were mentioning regarding getting the community engaged in these initiatives, which take me to the question I want to ask to Mr. Barak as well, in regards to the projects that I know that you're involved in, and especially that our community is one that we don't speak of in the present alone. Whenever we talk about our community, and when I say our, I mean Kuwait, Saudi, our Arabs, yeah, in general. We always talk about ourselves in the past, present, and future. When we mention our communities, we always mention ourselves as what we are or where we are now, what we were, and what we can be. And that comes up in every discussion when we try to kind of explain ourselves or where we stand. So what I wanted to ask is, where did you see us a while back, and when you started the grassroots community initiative that was, if I may call them, beautification projects, you know, all these gardens that were always planned for, and then you actually put it into action and executed it. Can you take us through like the stages, because I really think that by itself created a cultural shift, and just take the whole audience through it.
Before I start, I just wanted to add a point to what Mohammed was saying. The reason why we're having this cultural shift now and not 5 years ago is because of the social networks. 10 years ago, the only way for you to interact with people creatively is to be physically in contact with them. And the fact that this interaction became virtual detached the proximity thing between them. So you can interact with people, you can share your ideas with them in a detached way without having to live in the same city, without having to be in really close proximity. In terms of the grassroots initiative, it started off as a very bottoms-up kind of thing. We looked around and we saw that public space was being neglected in Kuwait. Nobody was taking care of the pockets in between the private spaces, the pockets in between houses, the pockets in between buildings. You look around and you see them as deserted, neglected spaces. We felt that we couldn't wait for someone to fix them for us. We had to do something for ourselves. And I don't want to take credit for anything. It was a very bottoms-up thing. And so what we decided to do was to ask the people of the community. We started in Cordoba. We asked the people of Cordoba, whoever wants to volunteer with us to beautify this, a really small space that's neglected, and we decided that we put a limit on the donation, so that anyone who wants to donate can only donate 10 KD, not more, so that people can feel that they can feel invested in it. They don't feel that someone is taking a big credit out of the whole thing. And what happened was mind-blowing. 80 people showed up on the spot. Little kids were trying to paint. We laid grass. A lot of volunteers are here today, and what made me really proud was the fact that after it was done, it's the same feeling that you got. People felt ownership over it. People felt that they want to maintain it. That's not a feeling that they had before. So what I feel now is that the problem in Kuwait and in the region in general is that we are neglecting the public sphere, the physical public space in Kuwait. Everybody cares about their private space, everybody cares about their work and but there's no shared public space anymore. We're delegating that to other people, and the people responsible are not really taking care of it in a way that we can be proud of. So we felt that we had to do it ourselves. And I don't feel that that's something that we should be doing, but unfortunately that's what's happening. So what I want to see in the future is that people feel that they have the power to change things for themselves. they can make a difference for themselves in their community, and they can feel a sense of ownership for it. And once that happens, it creates a virtuous cycle. It creates a cycle where one good thing pushes another good things, and it starts a snowball effect where we end up with a very, very rich public space that we can feel proud of. And that's what I want to see in the future.
I think I just want to thank both of you because they mentioned something that is very genuine and saying that you don't want to take credit for something like this, which I think is a very valid point, especially in today's world where everything is very rapid and everything's moving very fast. And it's very nice to just take a moment and applaud everyone in the community that's engaged in these projects. And I think we just want
But just to add to that point, the thing that made me feel really proud of it was that the fact that it wasn't the actual work that was the end result of it. The end result was that people were activated. They felt that they're doing something with their time other than just consuming media, consuming anything. They were producing something. They're creating something with their time. That's something that I felt really proud and honored to have been a part of.